Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Colette, and I created this channel as a safe space with you in mind. I help Black women to pursue new seasons of their lives with purpose and joy by pursuing resilience, practicing self-leadership, and by pivoting towards entrepreneurship. If anything that I have said resonates with you, join the community. We'd love to have you. Today, I am continuing our Radical Self-Care for Black Women series, and I have a very special guest, Pamela Freeman Fobbs. Pam has a Bachelor's of Arts in Journalism from the University of Houston and a Juris Doctor degree from Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Houston, Texas. Pam is actively committed to local, state, national, and global health medical advocacy and education. As such, she is serving or has served in the following capacities. And this is just an abridged list of all of her many accomplishments. She served as chair of the Diversity Council for the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine. She was a member of the Food and Drug Administration's Consumer Consortium, which is an advisory committee for the FDA's medical devices panels. As a lay trainer for the Women's Heart Health at the National Institutes for Health and National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, she educated participants. Pam is honored to have served her local community through her membership on the Community Medical Centers Foundation Board. She was recently appointed to the Fresno County Black Infant Health Committee. Pam is a longtime member of the Auxiliary to the National Medical Association. During her tenure as its 66th president, she represented the organization at an inaugural Global Congress of Women Leaders in Paris, France, at UNESCO, which is the United National Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And currently, Pam chairs as its National African American Youth Scholars Initiative, which is currently focused on the need to pivot towards a virtual platform. In 2019, Pam and her husband, Dr. Denard Fobbs, incepted Save Africa, Save Our World, Inc., and they completed a successful medical mission in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC. Save Africa, Save Our World, Inc. continues to engage with and support the Nibongo Hospital community in the DRC. She also served on the board of directors for the Valley Public Television. She is a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and the Links Incorporated. She is a devoted wife, the proud mother of 2 adult children, and a doting grandma of 3 beautiful grandsons. Pam's motto is remember to give back however you can. And she lives by her own quote, there's always time to listen, learn, and help. I want to take this time to welcome my cousin, Pam Fobbs. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you very much, Colette. I'm very happy to be here. You finally talked me into coming on, and I'm excited to be here. I'm just joking.
We are so happy to have you. As I mentioned, this is an absolute treat for the audience. We're going to continue talking about self-care and temple care and how we can support our self-care and temple care or medical care by following the things that we need to do as far as exams and checkups and practical things that we need to do as Black women. So what is self-care? What does it mean to you?
It means appreciating yourself first, because before you can care for anyone else, and I've had children and now I have grandchildren, you have to take care of yourself first. I love words of wisdom. And one of the most beautiful wisdoms that I have carried with me in my heart is the greatest blessing that you can have is to be at peace with yourself. So above all, if your mind is not healthy, your body is not going to be healthy. It's about being at peace with yourself. And in my life experience, this peace comes only from a close relationship with God.
Yes, yes. And so in the series, I highlight 5 care areas: physical self care, emotional self care, mental self care, sometimes called intellectual self care, spiritual self care, and social self care, sometimes referred to as relational self care. I want to talk a little bit about physical self care. Some people call it temple care. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. With that in mind, please explain the importance of doing monthly breast exams.
Well, as Black women, there are unique things as women. My husband is a gynecologist. My disclaimer is that I'm not a physician, but I have worked with him at his gynecologic practice since 1982. So I've picked up a lot just by being around, listening to him share his thoughts with patients. The one thing that we do as women, any women, is that we take care of everybody else and take care of ourselves last. How can we possibly be a caregiver to all if we are not taking care of ourselves? Today, breast cancer is one of the most curable diseases if it's caught early. Early detection is the best protection. So, what I cannot say enough is that we all have so much going on in our lives. We must create a health calendar. That health calendar is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself and your family. You need to have a calendar that has specific dates: the date of your annual exam, the date if you're over 50 that you had a colonoscopy that you don't usually need for every 5 or 10 years or so. Black people get skin cancer. All people get skin cancer, but we get it too. People assume that because we have brown skin, we don't. There are so many checklists that you need to make for yourself. But let me just say this: forewarned is forearmed. You have to be intentional about your health. Yes, you go to a doctor. Yes, you make your annual exam for your pap smears and stuff. But guess what? No one knows your body better than you. Don't rely on a doctor to tell you, oh, you're basically okay. That's just gas. You know what? That gas could be a heart problem. And then next thing you know, you're having a heart attack. You know your body better than anyone else. So the most practical advice I can give you is listen to your body. There are other little practical things that you can do. For instance, most women are dehydrated. Dehydration leads to other physical problems. Everything is all connected. They talk about how heart attacks can be related to dental health. Why? Because if you have problems with your teeth, those problems are going to be infections that can lead to serious other medical conditions. So it's important to not just take care of your gynecologic needs, or to not just take care of your breast, because your breast is connected to every other part of your body. And by taking care of the whole body, you're going to get your breast exams. Sometimes if you have a history of breast cancer, there's a test called a BRCA. If your family has a history of gender-based cancers, for women, it would be breast cancer or ovarian cancer. For men, it would be prostate cancer. Well, they usually can tell if there is a pattern in your family of cancers. You may not be at that point, but when you go to a doctor and they take a history of your family history and they'll say, well, what did your mother die of? Did your mother have breast cancer? Did your mother have heart disease? Those questions, don't gloss over those questions. Those questions matter, because what it is a roadmap of the health of your family and your bloodline. So make sure that you pay attention to everything that they ask you, because you're creating a roadmap, not only for your health, but for the health of your heirs, your children, your grandchildren.
Yes, that's so important. I didn't know about the test that you just mentioned. I just started going to a new doctor actually this week. And so I will bring that up because you know my family's history with the grandmother and my aunt. So you know that. So I will bring that up. Let's skip to briefly explain how to perform the breast exam.
I would say go to YouTube, because there are many doctors on YouTube that are going to show you how to perform a breast exam. One of the great things that you can do is to learn how to search for something. It has everything to do with the words. Go to YouTube and search how to do a self breast exam, or either just type in the words self breast exams. See what pops up on YouTube, because on YouTube, you will get an actual description showing you of a woman performing her own breast exam. So rather than me telling you, what I'm directing you to do is to go to YouTube and type in self breast exam and watch what pipes up. There's an old saying that all you ever want to know is in the Bible, and all that you ever don't want to know is in the Bible. So that's the same thing. YouTube and internet is cutting edge. It's a two-edged sword, because it can be good and it can be bad. So just make it a point to use it for good and not bad.
Yes, a lot of people call it YouTube University. I've learned a lot of things from YouTube University, so I give it the respect that it deserves. But like you said, I'm very cautious about the information that I get. But that's an excellent idea. So if you want to know how to perform a breast self-exam, go to YouTube and see what comes up. In one of my prior videos, I referenced Black Health Matters. I know that you were involved with one of their summits. Can you talk briefly about Black Health Matters, its purpose? What is it there to do? Did you want to share anything about it?
Let me just say first that
And you can skip it.
the
if you say
website
skip.
is blackhealthmatters.com. I have not seen a more complete, more explanatory, more forward-thinking and visionary website for Black folks to know about their health, the health of their children, the health of their spouses, than Black Health Matters. Black Health Matters is a premier online magazine of sorts, but they have expanded. They now have summits that are educational. They have research programs. There are different clinical researches that you can be a part of if you have certain diseases or cancers or sickle cell. There's a huge sickle cell clinical research program going on now.
Okay.
All things Black health can be found on blackhealthmatters.com. I had the opportunity to participate in a summit on behalf of the Auxiliary to the National Medical Association. This summit was for younger people. We talked about vaping and breast cancer in men. Yes, there is breast cancer in men. Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, had breast cancer. We talk about, mostly for younger people, mental health. Black people don't want to acknowledge mental health. Black Health Matters has made it a point to really, really delve into mental health and Black people. They're even beginning to talk about the epigenetics of health, the epigenetics of mental health, of just horrible stress in our history. For instance, when you look into the epigenetics of, I don't even want to use the word racism, it's just the epigenetics of the history of Black people in America. You have to begin with Africa.
Yeah.
I actually went to African ancestry to have my DNA done. My ancestral mother, meaning from the beginning of time, was from Cameroon. So you got to look at what happened when my grandmother was plucked from Cameroon and taken on a slave ship to America. And then we endured 400 years of slavery. I'm giving you all these timelines because when they look at your DNA, that stress and that terror and that horror that passed from being kidnapped and taken on a slave ship, from being on that slave ship, pressed like spoons to get as many people on as possible, then landing in America, and then 400 years of slavery, then Jim Crow, then segregation, and where we are today, which is still a struggle. What they're saying is that epigenetics from that first ancestral grandmother that I had, all the way up to now, it passed from her to my great-grandma, to my great-grandma, to my great-grandma, to my great-great-grandma, to my grandma, to my mother, to me. That stress was there. Why is it that we, as a group of women, have lower birth weight babies, despite the fact that we may be six-figure or even multimillionaires, educated up the yin-yang, but we still have low birth weight babies? They're doing studies right now on why this is. and they're coming up with an answer. It's the epigenetics. It's the epigenetics of the stress and the struggle that we have gone through from past generation up until now. So how do we counteract that? We are not victims. We are not victims. You are not a victim.
Right.
How do we counteract that? We counteract that with gratitude for where we are. You've got to be grateful for what you have. View your life as half full, not half empty. Meditate, pray, practice gratitude and appreciation. And sometimes you wonder, why do I feel disjointed? It's not just about where you are now. It could possibly be as a result of everything that you have gone through and your ancestors have gone through that passed through their blood into your DNA. But you cannot be going around angry with the world. Being angry and stressed affects your health. It affects you physically. So the way to counteract that in my reality is through prayer and meditation. And at some point in life, you're going to have to make the determination to take care of you and your body. You can't just come home, cook dinner, sit down and look at all of these shows that are on TV that are about violence, sex, and partying. You've got to do something else. One thing that I do is Kindle is okay, but I love, my major was journalism. I love to flip the pages of a book.
Me too.
I look at this for my grandsons. It's called the Child's Book of Wisdom. It's a wisdom book for kids. They've got some of the best wisdom ever. One of the wisdoms that I love to share with my grandsons is very simple. Your behavior is a picture of yourself. Think about it. Your behavior is a picture of yourself. So that's why I said you can't go around being miserable and angry and combative with the world. You need to find your own peace. And like I said, the greatest blessing that you can have is to be at peace with yourself.
Thank you for that. I talk quite a bit on the channel about practicing gratitude and about finding peace of mind, because we have been as a people through a lot of things, and some of us don't have the tools to address and to deal with some of the things that we are rightfully angry about, the indignations that we deal with on a daily basis that are still here. And so I am constantly talking about, yes, addressing it, identifying it, healing from it, and moving on, because we do need to call a thing when it's happening. If it's what it is, we need to say what it is and call it.
Exactly.
And so I really do appreciate those tools to give people to meditate, to pray, and to fill your mind with things that are going to help it be in a positive state of mind so that we can combat some of the trauma, the generational trauma. I think the term is post-traumatic slave. Yeah, there's a whole term that they talk about, and it's very deep. And I think we need to make sure that we are aware of that. And I thank you for that. In a prior presentation that you did, I noticed that you had discussed some overall rules to wellness, and I thought it was amazing. Do you want to share? You've shared a few already: meditating, praying, thinking positively. Did you want to share a few more of those rules?
We need to consciously think of ways to create a healthy environment for our kids and for our families. Getting back to just some positive words, I decided I would connect the dots because I've talked to you about gratitude. So I connected the dots: gratitude, forgive, relationship, pray, meditate, love, peace, humility, lift others up, volunteer, speak love. So all of these words that I just kind of threw down on a piece of paper, it's about your lifestyle and lifting yourself up. Because when you lift yourself up, when you create an environment to make yourself happy, that happiness that you have in your spirit is going to radiate to others. It's going to radiate to your children. Trust me, children are watching. If you have young kids and you're unhappy, you're going through a divorce, you have financial problems, you don't want to paint the world as rose-colored to your children at all. My attitude is that we've been married for 48 years. My children know that we don't agree all the time. My husband and I don't agree. We may have some intense fellowship, but 5 minutes later, they see my husband fixing me a cup of coffee and we're sitting down talking. So it's okay. No two people are alike. Another little chart that I created was around the word lifestyle.
Oh,
Lifestyle, organized, finances, moderation. What when you think of moderation, what? Drinking and everything else.
right.
Economize. If you organize your life and compartmentalize it, you can create a circle that's going to show you the map of how you can be blessed and you can be grateful and you can be happy. That doesn't mean you should not be goal oriented, but you need to identify what matters most to you.
Yeah.
We can't afford a house on the coast, but we can go to the coast every few months. So don't be jealous or be grudging of what other people have in your life. I've been in organizations where people can donate hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm happy when I can afford to give my $50 or $20. I don't feel diminished. I don't feel any less that I can't give what they give.
I agree with you. Everything that you said is on point because when we talk about self-care, it's not in just one area. And I mentioned in some of my prior videos that even though during this series, I'm mostly focusing on the 5 areas, there are other areas. There's financial, as you mentioned briefly, there's organizational. And so it's important that we are able to manage, ourselves, manage our relationships in such a way where they are fulfilling for us. And the other thing that I thought that you said that was very key was being able to identify. I think it was in my spiritual self-care video where I discussed find things that are meaningful to you. And that's beyond the material things. It's beyond the handbags and the designer shoes that you and I talked about prior to the recording. It's beyond all that. It's about what is meaningful for you. What is it that you want to spend and you get joy out of pouring yourself out of, dedicating your talents, your skills, and your abilities to what causes you. I talked about your medical cause, going over to Africa and providing some care there. What causes do you have? And it may not be going to Africa, it may be going down the street, it may be going over to the soup kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So what are the causes that are meaningful for us? So I appreciate you bringing up identifying what is important to us. The other thing I wanted to say before we move on is Pam had mentioned the link to Black Health Matters. I will link that in the description box below. The other thing I wanted to just ask you about is some people refer to the body as a temple. With this in mind, and you spoke about this a little bit, with this in mind, what are some of the best foods that come to mind for you that can help nourish our temple? We eat a lot of food that we eat because we want to eat, but not everything we eat nourishes our body. I have just started adapting a more healthy, actually cooking. I didn't cook. I was working and going to school and raising kids. So a lot of times I ordered out. And until recently, I ordered out quite a bit. And so I have started actually cooking my food. And I've lost I went to the doctor on Tuesday. I think I had lost like 20 something pounds. Yeah. So I'm still working on that. And one of the things I share with people is, yes, I do these videos, but when I'm doing the videos, they're for myself too. I'm not perfect. I'm working on me. And I take notes after I look at my videos and I do some of the stuff. So share a few foods that will help.
I will. But you know what? When you think of food, you also have to think of water.
Yes.
And I mentioned dehydration. The first thing you should do before you get up in the morning is to have at least 8 to 12 ounces of water by your bed to drink before you even get up and leave your bed.
I want to interrupt you real quick. I am so glad you said that. I keep this by my bed. I don't like cold water, so I like room temperature water, so that's good. And I talked about it in a prior video, but I drink 16 ounces of water before I get out of the bed.
That's wonderful.
And so I love that you say that. And so if you could say it one more time for people, that would be great.
I will. No, you should actually drink at least 8 to 12 ounces of water, preferably more, before you even get out of bed in the morning, because your body has been asleep. And one way to gently really wake up the organs is by drinking water. And that's going to be your very first hydration and nutrition of the day. People don't see water as nutrition. Our bodies are 80% water. It's absolutely critical that you feed this body water. There's a word of wisdom in one of the kids' books that says, if you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? And that is oh so true. You've got to take care of this body that you have. You know, I have foods that I'm going to share with you that are great, some of the best food that you can put in your body. But before I say that, let me just say, there's this big thing about organic. I'm not going to so much push organic. I'm going to push non-GMO. There's a lot of genetically modified food out there that you want to make sure you don't eat. One of the most genetically modified foods, believe it or not, is the potato. Always, out of all of the organics, the one that you should always seek to find is organic potatoes. And let me tell you, I know there are a ton of organic potatoes around, because guess what? My husband and I went on a search for some of the best, healthiest food for reasonably priced, because, you know, they say that Whole Foods is your whole paycheck. Well, they're a little reduced these days, but still, we only go to Whole Foods if we can't find it anywhere else. We go to a place called Grocery Outlet, and I think they're opening more and more throughout the nation. But Grocery Outlet has wonderful organic food, organic milk, organic yogurt, you name it, organic coffee. They've got lots of organics. So just make sure that of all the foods, make sure that you get organic potatoes. But one of the best foods that you can eat is apples. Apples are cheap. Apples are easy to find year-round. Apples provide you with vitamin C. Apples reduce cholesterol. Apples also reduce glucose. Also, almonds. Almonds are amazing because they are the good fat. There's bad fat and there's good fat. Almonds are good fat. Why? Because they're monounsaturated fat. And also, almonds are a good source of calcium. Any deep green vegetable like broccoli or kale or green beans or collard greens, mustard greens, the deeper the green, the more antioxidant it is. So cauliflower may be white, but it's also a cruciferous vegetable that has lots of fiber. So it's natural fiber in these vegetables. Blueberries are amazing. Somebody said you're supposed to eat at least 12 blueberries a day. Well, blueberries are also extremely high in antioxidants. Remember, blueberries also help you to fight against aging and memory loss.
I think I read that blueberries are also good for sugar regulation as well.
That's right. Yeah, they're now saying that sugar is far more dangerous to your body than fat. So you have to be very, very careful about the sugar that you put into your body. I use cinnamon a lot to sweeten my fruits, and because it will kind of give you the flavor of a sweetener, but it's actually just cinnamon. We love beans. A lot of people don't like beans, but red beans, pinto beans, any kind of kidney beans are very, very high in fiber. They're high in potassium, and also they provide protein. Many vegans will eat a lot of beans because they provide the protein. Now, let me tell you, one of the best fish that you can put in your body is salmon. Salmon is a good source of fatty acids, and also salmon is very good at reducing heart disease because it's very high in a nutrient called omega-3. Sweet potatoes are supposed to be the best vegetable in the world. Where did sweet potatoes originate? Africa. Sweet potatoes are the best. I mean, sometimes when it's late and we're tired, I always have sweet potatoes or yams in my refrigerator. I will take those sweet potatoes out, bake them, and use organic butter. We don't use fake butter. If you're going to use butter, use real butter, but don't use half of the stick. Just use a little of it. It is excellent. Let me just reiterate, greens. The deeper the green, carrots, the deeper the orange, even eggs. We get these special eggs from a small family farm. But our grandsons were shocked. They were like, Grandma, something's wrong with these eggs because they're orange. They're not pale yellow. And what they didn't understand is that the deeper the color of the yolk, the more nutrition that that egg has. So always look for eggs that are going to have a deeper color. That means that they're higher in nutrition. And of course, eggs offer protein. Any kind of nuts. We like walnuts. We like cashews. Bananas are great. They're great for potassium. Beans and rice, just the basics. Sometimes we'll just have beans, rice, and salad. You don't have to have a lot of money to eat nutritiously. As a matter of fact, the way that we ate growing up, the way that our ancestors ate, our ancestors had collard greens, our ancestors had red beans and rice and pinto beans and hot water cornbread. That hot water cornbread, cornmeal, is ground corn, and it's a lot of nutrition in it. I hate to rag on white bread, but the last thing you want to probably have in your cupboard is white bread, because that is the least nutritious bread. I know a lot of people will thumb their noses sprouted bread, but my husband will not eat bread unless it's sprouted. So I'm always on a journey looking for sprouted bread. I've even found sprouted bread at grocery outlet. Start reading labels. Look at the labels. I mean, sometimes I want so badly to buy something, but it's got such high sodium, it's no way I can get it. Or it's got such high sugar content, it's no way I can get it. I love Cheetos. So when I get that bag of Cheetos, I will count the number of Cheetos that I eat, although I want to eat the whole bag. So moderation is key. If you know you love ice cream, we don't buy low-fat ice cream. We want the good high-fat Bluebell ice cream. But you know what? We eat that high-fat Bluebell ice cream in a teacup. I mean, the teacup that you drink tea out of, that's the tiny little 3 or 4 ounce cup. Do we want more? Yes. But remember, moderation, another word, discipline. Moderation and discipline. Eat on a salad plate and don't get seconds. You know, you've got to learn discipline. You've got to learn to control what goes in your mouth. Remember, if you don't want fat on your body,
that's right,
don't put fat in your body.
And I think that that's one of the things that in our fast food society, because we're all moving so fast, we're all buying our food from fast food. I know for me, I was always buying fast food because I'm going to soccer practice, taking another kid to gymnastics, taking one to piano lessons, then I'm going to PTA meeting. A lot of times you are just rushing. And so sometimes we're not thinking about when we're buying these things from the fast food that, hey, what it's doing to us. In addition to the fact that we are stressed, so our body is not metabolizing the fat properly. So it's a lot. And this is some good information. And I do want to correct something I said. When I said about the blueberries and sugar, I meant to say that I read that blueberries regulate blood sugar levels. So I know you knew what I meant, but I just want to make sure the audience knows. Can you talk briefly about supplements? Just briefly. Do you have anything you want to share with the audience about supplements?
Well, you know what? I sort of feel like I'm the supplement princess. I can't say I'm the queen because my husband is a supplement king. I'm not ready to be the queen yet. But he tried and tried for many years. Like I said, we've been married for 48 years. He has always been into nutrition. My husband is a physician, but he also believes in holistic medicine. And when our kids were younger, whenever they would get sick, the very last item that he would try would be actual medicine. He said, you get a fever because the fever is your body fighting off the illness. At some point, you're going to have to take medicine, but these days, they don't want to give you too many antibiotics. Why? Because you become immune to those antibiotics, and then they don't work when they really, really need to work. So with regards to supplements, he does believe in supplements. I do believe in supplements. So we take a lot of supplements, but I would say if you're going to begin taking supplements, the first thing that you want to do is to take vitamin C. Vitamin C is one of the most important supplements that you can take. A lot of people will tell you to take 350 milligrams, 500 milligrams. We actually take a capsulized version of vitamin C called ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. It's a capsule, and it's in increments. Each capsule has 1,000 milligrams per day. So we take that. But remember, this is a cautionary warning. Whenever you take a supplement or whenever you take medicine, especially, you must drink at least 12 to 18 ounces of water. You need water to flush that through your liver and through your kidneys and through your body. Doctors are now understanding why there are so many dialysis units around, because so many people have high blood pressure. They take this high blood pressure medicine or all of the other medicines that they take. And a lot of people would brag about the fact that they can take their medicine without water. Well, when they take this medicine without water, or when you take a supplement without water, you are straining the dickens out of your kidneys, okay? And the kidneys can't take it. You've got to have something that's going to wash this through your system. So it's absolutely critical that if you're going to begin taking supplements, and if you are already taking medicine, you can reverse the kidney disease by simply drinking enough water. People underestimate the power of water and hydration. From this point on, if you are taking any medication, make sure that you drink a lot of water. And sometimes I wonder why physicians don't tell people that. It is critical that you drink at least 8 to 12 ounces of water for practically every pill that you pop in your mouth. You need to drink it. So vitamin C is very important. You can get turmeric. And of course, you need a good vitamin. We take a liquid vitamin called Intramax. You can get Intramax at many of the local pharmacies. You take about 2 tablespoons per day. You can take it in a juice or you can just take it straight. But a good multivitamin, but we still add the vitamin C to it. There are other vitamins like glutathione that you might want to take for iron, but the basic supplement would be a good multivitamin. You can really ask your pharmacist. Pharmacists are brilliant when it comes to supplements and vitamins. Ask your pharmacist, because your pharmacist usually knows what is going on in your life because they're dispensing your medicine. So they may know that you're taking a medicine that is going to weaken your bones or reduce the vitamin C. So be sure that you ask your pharmacist, even if you're young and healthy and you're not using a pharmacist, ask a pharmacist, what's a good vitamin for me to take? There's a whole plethora of supplements that we take. My husband really doesn't like the word vitamins. He likes, as you referred to it, Colette, he likes to refer to it as supplements. I take a supplement called Cortisol Calm, which is something that will sort of relax you. It just kind of tempers you. It has a little melatonin in it. I take a hyaluronic acid. Some people think it's cosmetic because you can get the cream, but I take it in a capsule. It adds hydration to your skin. So if your skin looks dry and scaly, hyaluronic acid tends to add hydration to your skin. But there's another vitamin that has mushrooms in it. It's called AHCC. Colette, I will get you the list of vitamins,
Yes,
the
please.
supplements rather that we take. I won't even tell you how many supplements that I take. But I got into the habit of taking them because I wanted to maintain my health. They say that if you do something for 12 weeks, it's pretty much a habit. So I've been doing this since March of 2020. I've been taking my husband's supplements, and I have to say, my nails are thicker, my hair is thicker, my skin is smoother. You know, I don't know if it's the vitamins or not. It may be because I'm cooking more at home and I'm cooking healthy. So it's not just a one-shot thing. It's a composite of things that are going to keep you healthy and grow you in health as you mature in your life. And remember, it's not a destination, it's a journey. What works for you when you're 30, you may need to tweak it when you're 40.
That's true.
And then you may need to add something when you're 50. You know, so it's not this one-stop shop that's going to see you through the rest of your life. That's why your health is a journey. You're going through the journey of your life as far as your health is concerned.
Yes, that's true. And I don't know what you're taking, but what I can say is, you know, and the audience knows you look gorgeous, your skin looks good, everything looks good. So we need to take, she gonna send me the list and I'm definitely gonna start taking some of this stuff. One of the things I wanted to ask is during the series, I emphasize how we cannot be helpful or perform or volunteer optimally when we're depleted. And I use the example of not being able to pour from an empty cistern. And I illustrate how the cistern, which is like a pitcher, all the holes in the cistern represents our roles we play, the responsibilities we have, but there's water always pouring out of those through those different holes. We cannot perform if we don't continuously pour back into there, which is represented by self-care. So having said that, can you talk briefly about the importance of getting rest and quality sleep?
People say that as you age, you need less sleep. We beg to differ. You need as much sleep because as your body gets older, it tends to wear itself down just from the process of aging. So our logic is that you need as much sleep, maybe not as much as when you were a baby growing up, but we try to get a minimum of 7 hours per night. And also, you need to prepare for sleep. You need to prepare to go to bed. You need to turn the lights on low when you're getting ready to go to bed. You need to make sure you're not rushed when you get ready to go to bed. If you have trouble falling asleep, have a good book that you have by your bed, not a Kindle. You're not supposed to have electronic devices really near you or even on. So that's why I say, find a meditation book that you like or a devotional that you like. Find something that's positive. You want to go to bed with a good attitude. You know, I think Phyllis Diller used to say, don't go to bed mad, stay up and fight. No. Don't go to bed mad.
Right.
Just try to free your mind. You might want to even meditate for a few minutes. And if you don't know how to meditate, here's a little breathing exercise that I'd like to share with you. It's called 4-7-8 breathing. And when you are stressed, if you're at work, if you're in a grocery store and somebody upsets you, cuts you off, when you're driving, cuts you off in the grocery store line, this is something that can calm you. And even if you're having a panic attack, this can calm you. 4-7-8 breathing is inhale on a count of 4, hold it on a count of 7, and then slowly exhale through your mouth on a count of 8. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're holding your breath for 7 seconds. And then you're slowly exhaling on the count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And guess what? It's on YouTube. Dr. Weil, W-E-I-L, developed this breathing technique. And we share it with my husband's patients. Go online to YouTube and type in 4-7-8 breathing. And you can see for yourself how to do this technique. It's simple, it's quick, and he recommends that you do it all through the day, but I particularly recommend that you do it just before you go to bed. You want to go to bed at peace with yourself. You want to wake up at peace with yourself. When you open your eyes in the morning, you want to be grateful for having the privilege to rise and see the light of another day. Be grateful. Have a spirit of gratitude as you're drinking that water, that fresh, clean water that you have to drink, that other people, like in Florida, do not have fresh water and they don't have electricity. And in many parts of the motherland in Africa, they don't have fresh water to drink. So be grateful. Colette mentioned that we incepted Save Africa, Save Our World in 2009. And then we went on a medical mission to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, very remote region, a tiny village with a tiny hospital that my husband was invited to go to, a Christian evangelical village. And so it's a hospital, but there is very little running water. We had the water brought into us in pails. So it totally changes your perspective on life if you grew up in America. The one thing that I appreciate the most, and that I began to appreciate the most when I came back home from that medical mission, was warm running water. I used to love taking a shower with a very strong pressure, just beating down on me,
Right.
hot, hot, hot. When I got back from the Democratic Republic of the Congo and I got in the shower in my home, I just turned the water on low and I turned it on warm, just barely warm. And I just flooded my body with that warm water. And I said, thank you, God, for this warm water to wash my body. And I've never been more grateful for warm water, clean water than I was then and now. It changes you. And that leads me into another thing, Colette, that I have to talk about,
Yes, please.
volunteerism. There is nobody on the face of this earth that cannot help someone else. As a matter of fact, in many of the schools in at-risk communities and indigent communities, they teach children to volunteer. Everybody can help somebody else. There is nothing greater than the feeling of knowing that you help someone better their lives. If it's nothing but giving them clean socks that you don't need anymore, or taking an elderly person a card, or maybe baking them some muffins, there's always room to help somebody else. And that's one of the greatest feelings in the world. And I firmly believe that we were put on this earth to help each other.
I couldn't agree with you more, especially when you were talking about gratitude. It's so funny that you mentioned about warm water. I have mentioned in prior videos that I keep a gratitude journal that I write in every day. I try to write at least 7 things that I'm grateful for that day. So this morning I wrote one of my things that I was grateful for was hot water. Why? And I wrote hot, clean water because, like you said, due to the tornado or hurricane that's happening in Florida, they don't have clean water. We
That's
have
right.
Jackson, Mississippi. We have Flint, Michigan. And a lot of
Right.
times people think of places in Africa that don't have clean water. We have places right here in America where
Exactly.
people do not have clean drinking water. They're having to boil their water, and even that is not helping them. So again, having that attitude of gratitude is so important, and you've heard it here, and it has so many health benefits. And also, like you said, volunteering, there have been studies about people who help people, how that helps them emotionally and mentally because they're reaching outside of themselves. Did you have anything else?
Well, I really like what you said about the gratitude journal. One thing that we have done is to create gratitude rocks. I don't know where it is, but my husband read in the Bible somewhere to create the mound of rocks to show gratitude and appreciation for the gratefulness and the blessings that you have received. So we live out in the country and we've got all these rocks, total disorganization. But what we have done is, to our son was a Marine and he ended up going to Iraq twice and coming back healthy and whole. My husband is a lymphoma survivor. He's doing fine since 2005. So for every blessing and every miracle that's happened in our lives, we go outside in our front yard and we put a rock out there for each time we have received a blessing, so that when trouble comes, we go outside, we look at those rocks and say, look at how far we've come. Look at the
Wow.
blessings that we have received in our life. So why are we worried about being blessed when this trouble will pass too? So
Yeah.
having a gratitude journal, but having gratitude rocks, you could put those rocks in a jar for every time you have received a blessing, especially an unexpected blessing.
Yes, yes. And I like that idea. It seems like I've heard of people having wall made of rocks and then putting papers inside of those walls. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, but that's I love that. I love the fact of having gratitude rocks. That's just beautiful. The last one I wanted to ask you about, I was trying to see if I can find that in the Bible, but I've read that, I believe. It might be in Joshua. Sometimes I think we need to give ourselves permission to take better care of ourselves and then make a commitment to do that. Having said that, I was on Dr. Fobbs' Lifepoint Institute for Women's homepage, and I took the I Love your heart pledge. I took that pledge. Yes. Can you briefly explain the purpose of the pledge for our audience? Do you remember it? Or
I do. It's basically the pledge regarding heart health
yes.
and heart
Yes.
disease. So basically on our webpage, which is drfobbs.com, it gives you a list of what we might do, but what's a better choice. So the pledge is to do everything that you can do to make the best choice for your health in your life. That is what that pledge is for. He put that pledge up 2 years ago for Heart Health Month with his February, but he got so many positive responses, he decided that he would leave it up. And he's always getting compliments when people come into the office. They'll say, I took the pledge, and he'll be thinking, which pledge? And they were like, the pledge on your website. So that's sort of like just become an anchor on his homepage, taking that pledge.
I took the pledge about 2 weeks ago. When I asked you to be on the channel, I went to the website and I took the pledge. I didn't even know that was there. I took it. I'll link everything below so that the people can take that pledge if they want to take that pledge. So I'm very excited about it. And I think the altar that you were referring to that's in the Bible, I believe that that's in Genesis 15-22. I believe that's where it is.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Again, I'll put the link to the website.
Drfobbs.com. Basically, it gives you the thing that you should use less and what you should use more. So as an example, use less salt, use more fiber, less junk food, more exercise, and so on and so on. It's kind of fun for you to look at it and see just what you may or may not be doing. Less stagnation and more activation, things like that. Yeah.
It was a great, and I remember it. I started doing the stuff on the pledge because, even though I'm retired, I still get so busy doing things. But then when you have taken a pledge, which is pretty much a promise, you are giving yourself permission to do better. I really love that pledge. Because of the pledge with this new doctor, I reminded him, look, I got to get, even though I hate him, pap smear, I got to do a mammo and all of that. I've been putting all that stuff off for a very, very long time. But the pledge made me realize I need to really take some things seriously about my health. And stress levels are so much down because I left the toxic work environment. So I'm able to really focus on actually dealing. Was there anything else you wanted to add before I ask my final question?
Well, Colette, I just want to applaud you for accepting this blog because I have viewed it and the content of your words is just priceless. So thank you for this.
Thank you so much, cousin. Thank you so much. So you are a wife, a grandmother, health advocate, a CEO, a mom. How do you practice self-care? You've talked about it a little bit, but did you want to add anything?
I just celebrated my 70th birthday.
Nobody's going to believe that. So how do you practice self-care? I'm sure the people want to know because they're like, there's no way she's 70.
Well, I grew up in the country. I grew up in a very small town in Texas. Colette, I shared with you that my mom passed away when I was 15 in a car accident. It's 4 of us. I have 2 sisters and a brother. And my dad never remarried. He became Mr. Mom. Being a country man, a country boy, my dad loved his aloneness. He never felt lonely. My dad always viewed his aloneness as solitude. So he would always tell us, when we went away to college and came back home and dropped everything and ran off to be with our friends, he would always say his mantra was, you've got to learn to be happy with yourself. Colette, I've got lots of friends. I love people, but I love my alone time. And I just have really been blessed to have the type of husband who allows me my alone time, not away from him, not away from the house, but when I come home, I just like to have a few moments alone, whether it's in the bathroom, whether it's in the bedroom, just to take or to pray or to read, part of a book. We both like to have a cup of coffee together when we come home. He'll make the coffee for us because he loves pour over coffee, the organic coffee that we got from Grocery Outlet. I'll go into my bedroom. He'll go into his office, which is just a makeshift bedroom. And we'll both have our alone time for about an hour and just chill out and de-stress from the day, from what we've been doing all day. We work at home 3 days a week. but we still do the same thing. And once we're done, my dining room is my office. This is just a backdrop. This is not my real office behind me. It's just a Zoom background. But also, I learned the art of saying no. You have got to learn to tell people no. The only way that you can do the best that you can is to know your limitations. If you know that you have, Colette, I don't know when you asked me to do this, but I said, you know what? Let me do it when I have time.
That's right.
And when we can just really relax. We had a wonderful conversation before this even began. So you have to understand how you want your life to flow.
Right.
And the best way to do that is to know yourself, to know what you can do, to understand your limitations, and to do everything that you want to do. You can prioritize what matters most to you. As I said, I love wisdom. And there was this one little dialogue that I saw about this guy who played piano. And this woman came up to me and said, I wish that I could play the piano like you. And he said, no, you don't. Because if you really wanted to play the piano like me, you would try, you would learn, you would take classes. So she said that those were empty words, but you really do think about it.
Yes.
And this is the desire of your heart. What you want to do most is what you do. If you want to make money, look at where your focus is in life. If you want to spend time with your family, your grandchildren, your husband, look at where your focus is. Look at how, this is a test for you. Where are you spending the most time in your life? And are you happy doing that? Tomorrow is not promised. You need to make a decision now as to what matters most in your life, and then plan so that you can spend time doing what matters most in your life. And that's the mantra that I try to live by.
And I like it because my whole thing is help Black women to pursue new seasons of their lives, because we're always changing. Our seasons are always changes, with purpose and joy, right? By pursuing resilience. That's our bounce back muscle. By practicing self-leadership. And people say, oh, is that when you're in management supervision? No, self-leadership has to do with leading yourself, because leading yourself is the hardest person to lead, right? That means whether it's getting up, exercising, walking, like you said, knowing your limits. It's about self-awareness. And I always like to tell people that no is a complete sentence. Nothing else needs to go. No, no means no. Is there anything you wanted to add before we close?
I'll just give you another word of wisdom. The only thing to try when all else fails is again.
Is again. I love that. Say that again for the people in the back.
The only thing to try when all else fails is again.
Is again. Is again. So I want to thank Pam Fobbs for being on the channel. I love you, and I treasure the wisdom that you have given us. People from all around the world are watching the channel now, so know that you are helping people from all around the world. I will be putting the links about the things we discussed in the description box below. If you have liked this video, giving it a thumbs up, it helps the YouTube algorithm to know that you appreciate the content that I'm putting out. Consider subscribing to the channel. When you do subscribe, make sure to hit the notification bell so that you're notified whenever I upload videos. I try to upload videos at least once or twice a week. Also, follow me on Instagram at the Colette, 1L, Colette, Elizabeth. Thank you for watching the channel. Pam, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Until we talk again, let's talk.